Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things going on in the world of professional wrestling. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. I'm your host, Speedball Josh Bailey, and joining me is my tag team partner, the cleaner, Donnie Omega. This episode, we're breaking down AEW Dynamite. Let's get into it.
Not the Donnie Omega.
The one
Okay.
and the only. Omega! Yeah. This episode was brought to us live from St. Paul, Minnesota. And wow, you know how sometimes a wrestling show will start off with a real slow crawl, like a big talky portion? Well, that wasn't this episode, because we begin the night with what arguably should have been the main event. An AEW World Title #1 contendership, which is what Kenny Omega wanted to win from Swerve, versus Kenny Omega's EVP status, which is what Swerve Strickland wanted to win from Kenny. And what were your thoughts on this opening match?
Honestly, it felt like the show was starting in reverse. This was, as you said, absolutely a main event level match. And that is not taking away from the main event or main events that we had tonight. This was fantastic. Now, I knew, I knew, in my opinion, I feel as if Omega should have won this, or else we would have ran the risk of the beginning to bury Omega for Swerve. But having him win this one, and then have Swerve not lose his shit and attack him again and put him back in the hospital, I think that was the right call to make. And I mean, I'm not complaining about seeing Kenny and MJF in the ring. So I feel like this was, I feel like this match and having Kenny come out on top, I feel like this was the right call to make. But yeah, overall, this was one hell of a match. This was one hell of an opener. None of that, let's talk for 20, 30 minutes. You know, because that's what you want with your superstars, right? Your main eventers, the guys that you would put in the main event of WrestleMania. What you want to do is take some of your best wrestlers, some of your hottest guys, put them in the ring, have them have a match? No, stupid. Don't do that. Grab a mic and let them talk to somebody they want to fight or to the audience for at least 20 to 30 minutes. If you could get the person that your superstar wrestler is complaining about to come out and also get into the ring and have a match, no, stop it, god damn it. Give him a mic and let them both talk you worded out, because that is the height of professional wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, they're not called pro wrestlers; they're called pro chatters, right? No, oh no, wait, that's wrong.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, this was I mean, I'm just gonna keep saying this over and over again. It's gonna be, eventually this is gonna turn into a wheel and we're gonna roll right the fuck out of here. It was a great opener, main event level, fantastic.
Yeah, I fully agree. I remember when we watched till like once this match was over, we were like, "Well, show over. This is going to be a short podcast. Where do we go from here?" Because I mean, it wasn't just a great opening match with tons of action, but it was a relatively long match. I want to say it like beat the 20-minute mark. And I swear to God, Swerve and Omega threw everything they had at one another. And almost from the jump, Swerve was doing underhanded shit. Like it started with Prince Nana immediately grabbing Omega's feet under the ropes. And then, later in the match, Swerve straight grabs Aubrey Edwards by the shirt. And I have a comment about that, but he grabs her by the shirt and then back kicks Kenny Omega while they're on the apron. And the commentators were like, well, she didn't see it. Can't disqualify her. And I'm like, you know what she did see?
Him
She saw
grab her.
Swerve grab overtly her shirt.
Yes.
And I mean, like,
for a second time, by the way.
Yeah. So it's like if you deliberately are putting hands on the ref and grabbing a hold of him, I can't imagine that the ref doesn't know, oh, I guess you're making sure I didn't see some shady shit. But what I don't have to guess about is that you grabbed hold of the ref and were like bodily controlling them. Like, so, whatever. But a little sus on that one, right? Like, because I think if you just overtly grab the ref, like, it's not like, oh, I'm getting up and I reached up for you and accidentally held on to you. But like, you're literally grabbing them like you're turning their lapel like you're trying to threaten them. Like, at that point, I think the ref could be like, well, DQ. Would that make for excellent television? Probably not. But would it make for a consistent behavior in what we are to willing suspend as a sport? Yes. So maybe a little less overt manipulation of the ref would be good, because that kind of thing I think should get you DQ'd. Like if you grab hold of the ref and you're like forcibly controlling where they can go and what they can look at, I think that is grounds for a DQ.
Listen, that's a podcast topic all in its own right there. The things that the refs do in wrestling matches or in sports entertainment, that's kind of like, bruh, you are destroying my my immersion with this. Can you stop? The like the guy later in the evening, the ref who took forever to put something away. Like, bro, you guys, like, there needs to be like a new, fresher set of rules and things to go by, so that it kind of, you know what, there needs to be a resurgence of mystery in wrestling. This behind the scenes shit that WWE is doing, the shows, the marketing, letting, just like the pulling back the veil, like, come on. And we've talked about this before, but just like when it comes to knowing how a magician does his trick, I don't fucking want to know. Like, I know, I understand that it's a trick. I know what that means. I understand that it's an illusion. Yeah, I get it. I understand that these are sports entertainers and they're not actually fighting. Yeah, I get it. Shut up and make it look like they are. That's what I'm saying. Shut up and just do that. Do the thing where I'm like, a kid again. Do that. Thank you.
I completely agree. I mean, we all know we're all adults here. Just like I know when I go to watch the Avengers or something, right? That this is actors doing a thing on a screenplay.
Yeah.
But the point is that we all agree to that going in, but then your job as the entertainer is to elicit my willing suspension of disbelief to the best of your abilities. And you're right, WWE has flat abandoned that. They're like, kayfabe, fuck that thing. It's out of here.
But make kayfabe great again.
Yeah, the reason I'm pointing it out here is that AEW generally does a pretty good job of trying to keep the kayfabe and the willing suspension of disbelief going. And this is just one spot where it was a little bit like it didn't kill it entirely, but it's on the border, right? Like, so that's the criticism, is like, you otherwise, like, you have guys that are killing themselves in that ring to try and get our willing suspension of disbelief for our entertainment.
Yeah.
So, having the refs act in such a way where, like, now I know this isn't a sport because they're letting this shit fly, kills that. So if I had one criticism, and it's not specific to this match, it just reared its ugly head in this match, it is a thing that just generally occurs, is that the refs need to stick to their guns. Like, it's gotten to where, like, no amount of eye raking or any biting, gouging, anything gets anything other than like a warning from the ref, but they can do it like 20,000 times overtly in front of the ref because it only ever gets a warning from the ref.
Yeah.
Like, we need to have the wrestlers actually get back to respecting the ref's authority, because that's the illusion being painted here, is that at any time, if they do something the ref really doesn't like, they could get DQ'd.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to where they're just overtly manhandling the refs because they never DQ shit. So I would like to see a pullback from that a little bit, because otherwise it's like, who even cares what the ref did? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Who even cares what they did to the ref, because the ref's never going to DQ anybody, So, like, for this purposes, for how hard you're working everywhere else to get my willing suspension of disbelief, this is a big loophole.
Yeah.
And again, I'm directing it at AEW because they're still trying in every other aspect to get my willing suspension of disbelief. They haven't just abandoned the cause like WWE entirely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in short, stop it. Get some help.
Yeah. But as far as this match, it was brutal. I want to say Swerve threw everything at him, including the vertebreaker in the middle of the ring. I mean, if you wanted to see Kenny Omega, eat shit in a match a bit like Darby Allin almost, this was the match to do it in. And yet, despite taking everything Swerve could throw at him, Omega still manages to get the win. And it was nice that Swerve, after a grueling match, sold that, screw this, I'm out. After that, I ain't got the energy to beat your ass after the match. So it was a good, solid, just straightforward win for Omega. And it didn't bury Swerve because these guys beat the shit out of each other for like 25 minutes. Neither one of these men looked weak at any point. So really, really fantastic opening match. And again, like, after this, we were like, well, what the hell's left for like the rest of the show in the main event? Because that was incredible. Well,
yeah.
Despite that fact, AEW Dynamite did continue on, and it actually gave us some really good matches. I might still say this could have been match of the night, but they certainly were trying to compete with it for sure. Let's see. This also, with the conclusion of this definitely propels Omega up into the number one contendership spot, because he did win that from Swerve. So now MJF has to worry about one Kenny Omega, and that's no joke.
Yeah, MJF is about to be busy.
Well, now you're touching on something that is well worth mentioning. Unlike situations where, like, maybe there's like one other dude, one major guy that's like, coming after that belt at any given time that we've seen elsewhere. Here, the AEW World Championship is absolutely hunted by like half the roster.
Yeah,
We've got Andrade El Idolo, who wants it. We've got Will Ospreay, soon to want it, I'm sure, after he deals with Kenny Omega. I'm not Kenny Omega, sorry. After he deals with Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
We've got Darby Allin, who's thrown his name into the hat. Brody King was interested and probably is still interested. Swerve is interested. This is a very hunted championship. There's everybody and their brother trying to get in on this. I don't think Kevin Knight is done trying to get a piece.
Hangman is interested. Oh, wait.
Yeah. But yeah, there's plenty of like folks that want that title, and that's a great look. I think that's a really good look. Like, you can say over and over, this is the most prized thing in the game, but this is more showing than telling me that. Like, how many members of their roster are coming after MJF right now really sells the idea that he has the most coveted thing in all of AEW that everyone wants. And that's a really good look. I think they're doing great with that. And I don't remember the last time I saw such a stacked contendership for everyone coming for a world title like that.
Yeah.
Usually it's like one guy, like it's, Cody Rhodes has the title, and it's like this week it's Randy Orton. Next week it will exclusively be Drew McIntyre. Like it's never a bunch of them all at once. It's like they take turns, and here it's everybody all the time. Like it really also makes MJF look like he's got a huge target on his back all the time from everybody.
Yeah. And I like that.
Oh, and later in this show, as a matter of fact, the Protostar says he's thrilled being the TNT champion, but he also thinks maybe he wants to set his sights on that AEW championship, and that he doesn't appreciate that Don Callis is currently working with MJF. He thinks we should be getting that title. So him and Andrade are in that same place. So, yeah, wanted.
Yeah. And that, I think, will make for some really great television.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, following that banger of an opening match, there's a brief sort of video package of accomplishments and moments in Darby Allin's career, including his partnership with Sting and his trek to the top of Mount Everest. And he goes on to say how he stands for everything that AEW represents, which is the ability to express yourself and be an individual in pro wrestling. We also hear from Will Ospreay, who makes it quite clear that he wants a piece of Pac, and he's fine to stop and, demolish Pac on his way to Jon Moxley, but he really wants Jon Moxley at the upcoming pay-per-view Dynasty. And he said, and I quote, "John, I want you at Dynasty, you motherfucker." I think that makes the point pretty clear. Motherfucker. He used up their one F-bomb and he put a mother in front of it. So more will probably be coming down the line.
Will Ospreay is like, with wrestling, I'll kick your ass. Okay.
Seriously. But after those brief announcements, we are brought to our next match of the night, which is a mixed trios match. That's one you don't get too often. It's the Death Riders, which, since it's a mixed trios match, it's Continental Champion Jon Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Marina Shafir that are defending against Skyflight's Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin, with their cohort Zeta Steel. And this I found myself looking at like, oh, so the Death Riders are getting a freebie. I was wrong. What were your thoughts on this trios match?
Yeah, this was a match that was much better than I expected it to be, and it's not because I don't like uh Top Flight. It's I for some reason, this is why I'm happy, because I think I said this before. I'm happy that these guys are in AEW, because I think they would just vanish in a promotion like WWE, or any something similar to it. Um and here, AEW, I feel, takes an active role in the representation of these guys. So it's not that. I think for me, I usually end up liking and marking out for wrestlers that are not only good but have lots of personality. And I just haven't seen the personalities from Top Flight yet. Um, and so they kind of get lost in the shuffle for me when it comes to watching wrestlers in AEW. Um, but every time I see them, I enjoy them. So I'm not really sure what the hell that's about. And this match was no exception. I thought they were freaking fantastic. The audience popped for them like crazy. Special shout out to uh Shafir, because she looked great in that match, and so did the chick that she was going to get lowered. I just forgot her name. Zeta, or is that right?
Yeah, Zeta Steel. You're right.
Zeta Steel. Yes. Yeah, Zeta. I think that those two looked really good. Zeta strikes, for the most part, looked pretty convincing. Marina could keep those kicks going, uh, yeah, just keep them coming because they look really really uh disrespectful. Yeah, but overall this was a really 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 good match, and Top Flight looked especially amazing here. I think I mean, like I believe you said this last night uh when we ended up talking over the show, regardless of how you feel about um Death Riders, they are a top act in AEW. So for Top Flight to have this opportunity, and I believe their hometown or somewhere around about them parts, because the audience was losing their shit for them. Um, that's a real big deal. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's a push for them to even be in the ring with the Death Riders.
yeah, we can put them, and we can keep them coming because I watching Top Flight in matches with like the Rascals, um, or even Private Party, entertaining as hell to watch. Um, I always end up feeling like I don't get to see the personalities of these types of wrestlers often. That's not the case with the Rascals. I feel like they did the most with the air time or the camera time that they got. I feel like they did the most to show the personalities and what they were about. And then we got to see them really tear it up in the ring. And so they stay in my mind whenever I see them. I'm, like interested to see what they're going to do. Or when they get to the mic, I'm interested to hear what they're going to say. And I can't say the same thing mic wise, promo wise, whatever you'd like to say with Top Flight. Maybe they need something like that. Maybe they need a little bit like a little vignette so we get to see more of their personalities. Uh and that goes a long way if done correctly. If the wrestlers use their opportunities uh to the best of their ability, it goes a long way to get the attention of fans. But overall, this was a fantastic match. A really good, nice little match after the main event. Because I mean, I would be very nervous coming up after uh freaking Kenny
Ribbon
Omega
Omega.
and Swerve. Like, shut up! Like, who? What? We're after them? I thought that was the main event. What the hell? Like, that would be me. But yeah. I thought they did their due diligence. Let's try that again, because I don't know who Duke Gilligan's is. I don't know who that is.
Duke Derringer. What?
Tech Dodgers.
Exactly.
Oh, showing my age. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, I think to no one's surprise, the Death Riders did pull out the win, but what did surprise me was how good of a match and how good of a showing Top Flight had here.
Yeah.
Um, and there's two things I'd like to address. The first one was that Top Flight had a really good showing. Dante and Darius actually innovate some really neat offense when they're in the ring, and I appreciate that neither Dante or Darius gave a shit who was in the ring. They were willing to take it to whichever Death Rider was dumb enough to be in the ring at the time. And that ties into my next point, which is you don't often see mixed tag matches. And sometimes when you do, it's kind of lame because certain members, the female members in a mixed tag match, are like China dolls that the other half of like whoever's in the match can't touch, right?
Yeah.
That's not the case here in AEW. In AEW, if you're in the ring, you're treated like a wrestler. And I appreciate that. Not because I'm like, ooh, yay, hit women, but because if you're going to get in the ring and you basically have like the Super Mario Invincible star because half of everybody else just won't fight you, it's boring. Here, it was actually really good. There was a point where Dante was being attacked by Danny Garcia, and Dante hits him with a knee to repel him, and then Marina Shafir comes along behind Dante to try and blindside him, and Dante does like basically I'm not sure if it was an over the shoulder enziguri or more like a Pele kick, but just clobbers her with it and then tags in Zeta Steel. And I'm like, that's so much better than if he had turned around and she could hit the shit out of him, but all he could do was try and struggle his way to the corner to tag the other female in. Like I appreciate that they're treated as competitors.
Yeah.
And so this was actually really entertaining, partly because of that reason. Because there's not a situation like, oh, okay, so she can just hit him and do whatever she wants, but he can't do anything back. That's boring. It's very tiresome when we're supposed to be watching a match. And so I appreciated that. There was also another point where Marina Shafir had Zeta Steel up on her shoulders and then tagged John Moxley like they were going to go for like a doomsday device. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, are they going to pull this off? But Zeta Steel did manage to fight her way out of that and instead ran Marina Shafir like directly into John Moxley's nads. And then he fell off of the top rope and then also smashed his nads. So it was Yambag City in that moment. But yeah, all in all, a really good match, and not to mention a bit of a clash of styles. Because while like Wheeler Yuta's a smaller guy and Danny Garcia's a smaller guy, neither of those two guys are particularly high flyer guys. Whereas Dante and Darius are absolutely high flyers. So there was no one on the Death Riders team that is really a high flyer that was going against high flyers. And
Yeah.
so even with that clash of styles, or maybe especially because of it, it was a really good match. So very impressed, and this is definitely a good showing for Top Flight. Because I mean, they were on Dynamite and they were in the ring with the Death Riders. Like they're not hiding the top of the card from like the middle or the bottom of the card at all.
Yeah.
If you could even say that, So it was a great showing for Top Flight. Ultimately, however, the Death Riders do end up getting the win, and after the match, Moxley grabs a microphone, and we were like, "Oh no." Because Moxley, at the best of times, has a rough time cutting a promo that's coherent, let alone when he's out of breath. But he goes on to address Will Ospreay after the match and says something like, "It's not nice to say mean things about people on TV."
Oh my God! It's not nice to break somebody's neck, Moxley. Stop.
Yeah, seriously.
Boy, stop.
But and he says, you seem very upset about whatever the issue is, but for us, it's not personal. However, if you want a big old fat juicy grudge match at Dynasty, you got it. But until then, don't let your mouth get you into too much trouble. And I'm like, well, I'm here for the match, but I mean, I'm sure Ospreay is going to let his mouth, his feet, his fists, anything he can throw at the Death Riders get him into trouble. He is coming for you.
Yeah.
You are on his hit list. You are on the hit list of the aerial assassin. And he's now freshly like bionic man repaired, so he can really probably demolish you guys.
But possibly.
Following that, we get a brief look at the Young Bucks talking about how they were really kind of downtrodden after losing to FTR at Revolution, but they bounced back with a trios victory with their friend Jack Perry, and their goal remains the same. They still are coming for those World Tag Team titles for a record fourth time, and 2026 is going to be the year that they do it. I'm here for it. I will never ever say, "Oh no, don't run back that killer match with FTR." Oh no. Then we come to a match where one member of the AEW World's Trios Champions, Speedball Mike Bailey, faces off against Rocky Romero of the Don Callis family. And boy, howdy, we love Rocky Romero, don't we? Like, none of us looked at that and said, "Oh, so Mike Bailey's just going to destroy this bitch."
One of my favorites.
But I digress. What were your thoughts on this match?
I was happy to see Speedball. And again, this is not a bad match. This is again me not really being into one of the wrestlers involved. I'm not a huge fan of Rocky Romero. I'm sure he's great. I'm sure there's something there, but I struggle to even see his value in the Don Callis family. He's like their version of Daniel Garcia.
Oh, man.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Ice cold.
I'm not really crazy about Daniel Garcia either, just in case you guys were wondering. Um, just boring styles. That's all. That's all. Like it's not. I don't like legitimately hate the individual. Like that's not the case. I'm just not a fan of their wrestling styles. That's it. And not only am I not a fan of what they do in the ring, but their mic work is I'm not impressed with that either. So they're just kind of throwaway characters for me. If somebody out there likes them, awesome, and I'm not trying to persuade you otherwise. Have fun and enjoy them, but they're just not my cup of tea. And with that being said, however, it was nice to see Rocky Romero get beat up by Mike Bailey. Um, and it's just always good to see Mike Bailey in the ring. That dude hasn't disappointed me yet. Um, he has not gotten into the ring and given me 95% ever. It's 100% or more or nothing at all. So it's really hard to not be interested or impressed with anything that he does in the ring. And honestly, Rocky didn't do anything that annoyed me except for that sliding bullshit that he does across the mat that apparently is so entertaining, but it's not. It's not. Um, don't listen, Rocky Romero. Do not listen to all these people out here telling you that your little slide across the mat is dumb. Listen to me. It's stupid.
I mean, that's like 1/3 of all of his moves. The other 2/3 are sliced bread and getting pinned by some other better wrestler. So I mean,
Yeah, that's about
that
it.
what else has he got?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, bro. Look, if you guys can point me to a match where he was actually good in it or entertaining, then I'll watch it and I'll take it back, But right now, he's just not my favorite. But with that being said, this match overall was really entertaining, all because of Mike Bailey. I mean, Speedball is amazing and a delight and a treat to watch anytime he gets into the ring. So that's that is my opinion of the match.
Nice. Well, in my opinion, which agrees largely with your opinion, this was the closest thing to a squash match that we had this Dynamite. And
Yeah.
first and foremost, I would like to say that I think it's really cool that Mike Bailey can find time to be a full-time professional wrestler and a Power Ranger all at the same time. He's fantastic. I mean, he is literally the total package. The kids are going to love him. The adults are going to love him. Everybody's going to love this guy. He is a superstar.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason I said close to a squash match is because I think Rocky attempted to get a little offense off, and by that I think he tried to do sliced bread. Um, and then he did the slide across the ring on his knees and shoulder shimmy, and that it's like the bat signal. It's like that's when Rocky says, "I would like the match to be over now," because precisely after that is when Mike Bailey decided to destroy him. Hitting him with several of his spinning kick kind of finishing setups, and ultimately drilling him with the Ultima weapon, which is a back flipping double knees to the ribs and spine of his opponent. And it was disgusting and amazing to watch, and I loved it. And can't get enough of Speedball Mike Bailey. He's just so good.
Yeah.
Following that ass whooping, we had a brief review of the Texas Death Match that took place at Revolution, where we are reminded once again that it was both a brutal match and that Adam Page can never challenge for the AEW World Championship again. And this, of course, led to MJF coming out to the ring and being super insufferable. We knew he would. We knew he would. We knew he would be super insufferable. He was so insufferable and braggadocious that he hit us not with one, but two of his closing catchphrases. He is both better than us, and we know it, and nobody is on the level of the devil. But This did, upon hearing that, bring out one Kenny Omega, who immediately made the crowd happy because MJF shut up while Kenny Omega was coming out. And he got in the ring and faced off with MJF and grabs a mic and basically says, you know, that it was ridiculous that he's saying his match with Hangman Page was an easy match and calling himself the devil. But he goes on to remind him that, he's got a couple monikers too, the cleaner, the god of wrestling. And he says, if you're going to fashion yourself as the devil, I guess it's not unfair for me to fashion myself as the god that will defeat you. And, even though the last time they faced off, he was at about 80% because he was on the verge of like his diverticulitis getting him. And now he's pretty close to 100%. So it's very likely that the fans all know that he's probably better than MJF. But what's worse is that MJF probably knows it too. And he says, well, let's go ahead and make it official. And he stuck his hand out to MJF. The God versus the devil at Dynasty. You're on. And MJF was like, well, you got the match, but as far as that handshake, and he just disrespects Kenny Omega and leaves. And Omega ended things in his classic way by saying, he bids us all good night and adieu. Bang.
Mwah. You did the bang, I did the moi.
I mean, it's good stuff. I can't imagine. There's only two possible options for people, I think. Maybe I'm biased, and that's fair. You either haven't heard of Kenny Omega or you love Kenny Omega. There's really not a middle option. Then we are taken to a promo where Rennie Paquette, our favorite, she's so cute. She caught up with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland ahead of their tag team match with FTR at Dynasty. And Christian Cage opened up by saying, life is a series of choices. You chose to betray Adam Copeland. You chose to pile drive Beth Copeland. And worse, the most egregious thing you could have done was you spike pile drove Christian Cage. And then he storms off and Copeland just says, he's such an asshole. But then Copeland goes on to say, how he met Cash Wheeler at a gym, gave him an opportunity. And so basically Cash Wheeler, can attribute his career to Adam Copeland and that they've known each other a long time. They've eaten together. Their kids have played together. That's all been thrown away. And he knows that he's going to hurt them by taking the thing that they love the most, their AEW tag team titles, away, but he's going to go one better. He's going to end their careers. And shortly after that, regrettably, unfortunately, FTR comes out to the ring with Stokely, who can now miraculously walk and is still somehow the same height, if not shorter. And twice as holeless. But they start talking, and basically Cash says, you guys are a nostalgia act. When I was first starting my career was one thing, but where I'm at now, look at me, I'm a tag team champion. You're old news, we're the new hotness. And then I think Dax Harwood, chimed in and said something. I don't know. I think I'm trying to block it out, but
calling yourself the new hotness though is wild. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think he was saying something along the lines of like, if we were willing to pile drive Beth Copeland, imagine what we'll do to you. Top Guy's out. And we were like, yay, Top Guy's out. Our favorite thing to hear when FTR is ever on the mic. Yeah, they're leaving. So there's heat building between them for their match coming at Dynasty. And that led us into match number 4 of the night, which is the Dogs, David Finlay and Clark Connors, mysteriously absent Gabe Kidd, versus the conglomeration, Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. And what?
I feel like Gabe Kidd needed to be absent here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and lead into how what I thought about this match. If you're okay with that,
yeah, for sure, get it.
And not only did he needed to be absent, but this tag team, the Dogs, they needed this victory. They needed the win here. As much as I love me some Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong, uh, if the War Dogs or the Dogs or whatever they're calling themselves, if they didn't win this match, then they would have just been relegated to jobbers. That they just would have been another one of those teams that's all bark and no bite. So it was imperative that they go out there, look as non-goofy as fucking possible, and just destroy. And I feel like they did that. Um, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to destroy Roderick Strong. I mean, in the very definition of his name, or in the very like it's just it's kind of hard to do it because he's dummy strong. He's a difficult match. However, I feel like Orange Cassidy is kind of a clean slate. Or he's able to make himself more of a clean slate than Roderick is, which is probably why whenever they need that downtime in a match where the good guys are down for a few, it's usually somebody like Orange Cassidy that's the one in the ring taking all the damage. Um, and I think it's because he's a better seller of it. I'm not saying that Roderick can't sell, and I'm not saying that he doesn't take bumps. He does. I'm saying that it's a little bit more believable. I don't know. There's like a vulnerability. Try that word again. You know what I'm trying to say. That that Orange Cassidy is able to have come through that I don't really see as much with somebody like Roderick Strong. So you give a shit just a tiny bit more because you're like, Orange Cassidy is gonna die. For the same reason that you feel the same way when Darby is thrown around like a fucking rag doll. You're like, okay, that's cool, but can we not kill him, please? Um, and you know it's crazy when the audience, when the sickos that go to AEW's events, the ones who are screaming for blood in every single match, whenever they get to the point where they're like, "Don't kill Darby,"
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know it's bad. But let me get back to the match there. Yeah, Orange Cassidy, I think, just has a way of expressing a bit more, uh, of a vulnerable side whenever he's getting his quote unquote ass kicked. Uh, and it just looks better when he takes the bumps. Um, and I feel like and I am going to get their names. Don't you help me? Don't you do it. But I feel like Finley and Connors, plural, Connors, multiple
nice.
Connors, uh, I feel like they did a very good job, and AEW creative did a very good job of introducing these two men. I think they did it real smart. One time each with Gabe Kidd, which was the connector here. We all knew Gabe Kidd. We all see him. We've seen him before. We've seen him in Ring of Honor. He's a psychopath. We know who he is. He's got two more psychopaths with him. They introduce you to these two with him, then you see all three of them together, and then you get to see Gabe Kidd by himself make a small little exit, while these other two who have been introduced to us, weeks just mere weeks ago, now feel a tad bit more familiar whenever we see him. However, that music, I think it's Connor's. I think it's his music. Yeah, boy, stop, listen. If it's Finley, I
Yeah,
don't know whose music. Both of y'all, stop it, redo, go back and try that shit again. You could play Gabe Kidd's music if you guys are a faction or a group. Just play Gabe's music and have you guys come out because the music that you picked was too low. It was like all trouble.
I couldn't
Uh,
hear it.
there's nothing intimidating about trouble. Like like
No, not nothing.
nobody's hearing a song in trouble and going, oh, not even metal. You're not gonna blast metal on trouble. Get the fuck out of here. Come on. You're not gonna do that. you're gonna turn that bass up to at least a minimum. You want something to round out the shrill of your guitar. Come on. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's bad. It's bad, guys.
And
Don't do that again.
it matters because I mean, like
Yeah,
take a look at Tommaso Ciampa right now, like a big not I mean not the whole story, but it adds to his character that his opening music is killer good.
yeah. No, that it matters. The whole package matters. The total package matters. WWE is obsessed with the total package, and yet they have forgotten the most important part of the package is wrestling. you you your
Yeah. Yep.
professional wrestling promotion. The biggest sell should be the wrestling. Next is who is doing the wrestling. Do they have a personality? What can they do with what can they do on the mic in the ring? Listen, okay, I don't know promotion. You're right. You're right. What the fuck do I know? I don't know. I've been watching wrestling ever since I was like 5. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what people want to see, but, just saying. Maybe I don't, you know. I know what I want to see, and it's not whatever's popping off over yonders. So, the music and whatnot is important. And they were just talking about that too with some of the music for WWE. Like all their songs sound the same pretty much now.
Yeah.
Um, Champa's music is like you hear "My Shadow Knows My Story," and immediately audience is ready to like
Yeah,
like, yeah.
seriously. And I mean, think about it. I mean, some iconic tracks like we hear Adam Page's music start.
Yeah,
We
we hurt
Swerve
people.
Strickland like made his mark coming out to top rope catch a dive and Nana doing his dance, and now he's doing the same thing with Most Dangerous. It's catching
Most
on.
dangerous. Most
So it
dangerous.
matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
We hurt
absolutely
people.
matters.
We hurt
Yeah, we
people. I
hurt
mean,
people. Fuck.
yeah, like these songs are bangers. That matters for the package. But yeah. Um that is again my humble opinion.
So overall, good match. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. I think broadly I agree with you. I think the dogs here did need to pick up a win, and they did so despite like Orange and Strong fighting pretty hard.
Yeah.
Uh and they needed this win, or as you aptly put, the dogs would have no fangs.
Mm-mm.
Um and Connors and Finlay, I know we just got done criticizing their music, but what I can't criticize is their in-ring work.
Oh hell
Connors
no.
Finley and Connors are bruisers, and
Yeah.
Connors especially makes literally anything he does look like it's the most intense and painful shit that could be experienced. He makes like shoulder tackles and spears look absolutely devastating.
Yep.
I mean, he could be doing something like a snap suplex, and you'll be like, God, he killed that guy. Like the ring shook. So between that and the fact that Finley is a bruiser and his vertical suplex pitch across the ring for people, that's just gross. And their finishing move, the full clip that they used where Finley gets Cassidy up in a vertical suplex and then Connors like avalanche spears and upside down Cassidy in
So
half into
so
the mat was
disrespectful.
gross. It was so good.
So
So I can't
disrespectful.
complain even an iota of how the dogs fight in the ring.
No.
They are nasty customers, just bruisers. And so I agree with you. This was a good match. Roderick Strong looked good. Orange Cassidy looked good, but ultimately Connors and Finley were just too brutal for them and pick up the win. And that's good. I mean, Strong and Orange aren't the new guys here, and Connors and Finley and the dogs just took a big loss in that battle against the conglomeration. So it was good for them to come back and show that the dogs do have teeth, and they really did. They look mean. I know I've made fun of like their promo work, but like their in ring work is absolutely next level. Connors is particularly impressive with the shit he's doing in the ring too. Like, definitely catches your attention. And the in-ring work matters. I know, like in WWE, they act like that's the least important component, and that's part of the reason why their product is sucking ass right now. Like, what happens between those ropes matters. Another good example I could cite was, we've all seen Swerve Strickland, and he's been, even at his stage where he's at the top, he is still adding to his repertoire. He recently added the Vertebreaker, and in this match with Kenny Omega, he did a vertical suplex into a power bomb. I'd never seen him do that before. So even Swerve is like, let me throw him something new, see what they think. So you got to keep evolving, and you've got to keep making it. A good example was back in the day, The Undertaker. When you think of The Undertaker, there's a lot of things that can come to mind because he was there for a lot of years. You could be thinking of the Badass. Well, coinciding with the Badass, what's different? Well, it's not just that he changed clothes. He switched to the Last Ride power bomb. Now that's his finishing move.
Yeah.
And so he just kept evolving. He added Hell's Gate over the years. You got to keep doing that. It's important. I don't know why they think they can get away with that not being significant. What you do in the ring matters, and it arguably matters the most, but for some reason, certain wrestling companies think it matters the least.
Yeah. Which is crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy. It's
it's
in your
like,
name.
yeah, it's pro wrestling, guys. What happens in the ring matters. But following that really good match, again, like, we're just everything has been fire thus far, and we're 4 matches deep. Following that, the Divine Dominion addresses the Babes of Wrath, and Lena Cross and Megan Bayne pretty much go on to say that they needed to talk about what people don't see, that the Babes of Wrath suffered from greed and false confidence, and it cost them. And Cross said if Nightingale bit off more than she could chew the first time, this time they'll make her choke. And
Giggity?
Bane, yeah, right. I'd watch it. And then they said Bane said to Cameron that she should stick to what she's good at and play with her puppets. And that the Babes are going to, regret asking for another shot at those titles. And then we saw what I felt like threw me way off of where I thought the storylines were going with what's happening with Takeshita in the Don Callis family. Because we get what starts out as a single promo from the protostar Kyle Fletcher, the one that I referenced earlier. And he's talking about how he recently beat his former mentor, Robbie Eagles, which kind of puts into perspective, how much he has grown and how good he is. And he went on to point out that as records go, he's undefeated in singles competition in 2026, which is something that Kenny Omega can't claim. It's something that MJF can't say. And so he's wondering, why isn't he in the world title picture? And he says he doesn't really appreciate the business arrangement with MJF and the Don Callis family because they should be fighting MJF and bringing that world title back to the Callis family. And that he, Kyle Fletcher, is the man to do that, but he does have something else he wants to take care of. And apparently just off camera is Konosuke Takeshita, and he says he knows Takeshita isn't a fan of Okada or Proto Okada, but he doesn't want anything to get into the way of the friendship that they have. And Takeshita goes on to say nothing could ever come between them, especially not Okada. And besides, Proto Shida came first, and then they embraced, and it looks like Proto Shida is back on the menu. And that threw me off because I thought Takeshita was like showing signs of tension with the Don Callis family. So this is kind of an interesting swerve. Is this just a setup for an even bigger betrayal by Kyle Fletcher, or
maybe they're
what do you
dialing it
think?
back maybe they're dialing it back now for something else. Maybe there's another storyline that they're trying to go with or another angle. I'm not sure. But yeah, that really did feel like it was opposite of where they were going. Like, remember the last time we talked about uh Takeshita, I was saying stuff like eventually the Don Callis family was gonna turn on him because he lost his match and whatnot, and then he was shaking hands with Moxley. But it's like nothing really came of that. So I'm not really sure where they're going with this now. Like I thought I had my little predictions all right, and nah, I think I am yet to be surprised.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, did they change course? Is this a
Yeah,
writing faux pas of inconsistency, or is this a red herring because they were like, maybe we're signaling this too hard and we want to keep them, in suspense. But
yeah,
either way, now I don't know which way they're going with Takeshita and the Don Callis family. So kudos, I guess.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I can't predict it. Um, but that brings us to our fifth match of the night, which is AEW Women's World Championship match. The Toxic Spider Tekla versus Mina Shirakawa.
Our
And what were
double
your
main
thoughts
event.
on this match?
This is another one of those matches that was actually better than I thought it was gonna be, and that's because, as you guys know, I have stated in the past that I'm not that crazy about Mina Shirakawa. That's not to say that she's not a good wrestler, but her style just isn't my cup of tea. Um, I have to say though, she gave this match 120%. The last match that she was in, where she smashed the bottle on oh my goodness,
Marina Shafir, and it's
Marina
easy to
Shafir's
like
hit.
blend Marina Shafir to Mina
It's
Shirakawa, like,
so hard. It's so hard not to say Marina Shirakawa or
or Mina Shafir. Yeah,
Armina
yeah,
Shafir. Yeah.
exactly.
Um, but I enjoyed that match as well. This match I enjoyed thoroughly. Tekla and Mina looked really good together. Tekla is fucking crazy. Um, but I am a huge fan of her ring presence. She is over the top and she goes all in. She's eating everything when she gets into that ring. She get in
Yeah.
front of the
Yep.
camera, she immediately is ready to eat. And yeah, like that girl is off the chain, and it's that's an old school very. She
Yeah.
is crazy. And it's all good. It's all entertaining. Thankfully she spat on nobody that I remember, so that was good. Um, but yeah, no, this was a crazy freaking match because Mina was legit wrestling like she was upset about Tony being, hurt. like like real talk. She was really upset. She also came out with those flowers. Apparently, there's a secret admirer, and I don't think we still don't know who that is supposed to be. Um, and not really sure where they're going with that. But she came out with some flowers. Threw them down ringside and got into the ring. I don't think that played a part at all. Again, I was just very confused about it, and the only reason that I knew anything about the secret admirer was because I think XCal said something,
Said
and
something. Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, okay. But other than that, I don't think they
Okay.
really played. Yeah, I don't think they played much of a part. Mina looked good in this match. Tekla looked good. This was, uh, I feel like they did the right thing in having two main events since they did a double main event. They needed it because their opener it was the main fucking event, guys. Like the opener was
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. Um, but I think they did it right by having two because they're like you're gonna need two to try to make your show even out there. You don't want to dip at the end, so you're gonna have to try to keep it, and I think they this was the beginning stages of them starting it. It was good. It was good. It was a good match.
Yeah.
Like legit better than I thought it was gonna be.
I agree. Um, I liked the fact that Mina Shirakawa came out and she was mean Mina. Like,
Yes, yeah.
like she played it through both in like the fact that she wasn't goofy and dancing around a whole lot, and she played it much straighter and much angrier. And I think she also did so with what she did to Tekla in the ring, and it just all together made her look more credible in the ring.
Yeah.
To that end, on the opposite end of that, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Tekla can absolutely steal a scene that she's in. Like, she eats up the scenery.
Mhm.
But for some reason, Tekla keeps having to cheat to win. And I don't understand that, because she's absolutely a beast otherwise. Like she
Yeah.
needed to use brass knuckles on Mina here to pick up the win. And I'm not sure if that was to put over that Mean Mina is just too strong, and so brass knuckles. But it's kind of having the opposite effect on my feelings about Tekla, that she has to cheat every match to win when I don't think she needs to.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I'm not really sure whose choice this is, or why this decision keeps being made. Um Maybe they'll explain it, or maybe it's just the wrestling trope that they want to use. Uh
That or maybe they're afraid that they want Tekla to be a heel, but she's good enough that if she doesn't do overtly heel things, she'll get over.
yeah, maybe. But I mean, she's gonna get over anyway.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
I think
it's already happening. Like she's gonna get over. Period. So
yeah. But I think I'll give the benefit of the doubt in that they wanted to convey that Mean Mina would have been, too tough. So, brass knuckles. But it ultimately leads to Tekla retaining her title because she managed to hit with the brass knuckles behind the referee's back and secure the pinfall. Surprisingly, did not proceed to kick the shit out of Mina Shirakawa after the
oh
match
the
either.
yeah, that's right. That's when the ref needed to put the belt. So she took the belt, or no, was it the belt, or she had something that she was gonna hit?
She removed her belt to whip Mina, like how
Yes,
she likes
yes,
to do
yes.
with Statlander, and the referee took that belt away. But that's that part you were referencing earlier, where the ref took
Yeah.
the belt away for like a year.
Apparently,
Um,
he needed a whole 2 minutes to find a place to put that belt where his back was turned. I mean, honestly, she pulled out brass knuckles from her top, put them on, lifted them above her head for about fucking 30 seconds. I mean, the audience is, they almost did a brass knuckle chant. Meanwhile, the ref is like, "Oh gosh, I don't know what to do with this belt. Um, Man, should I just put it here? Oh no, maybe I should put it down here. I don't know. What are they talking about? Brass who? I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much what was going on.
yep,
That
and
was a little too much.
it wasn't even like she hit with the first strike. Like, she pulled him out and tried to hit her and took a back fist, and then when Mina lifted her for a back suplex, she clobbered her in the head there. So I mean, the ref gave him like a week to do that whole thing.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, um, I would say the best thing that came from that match for me was that I do like the meaner Mina. Like, she is already like, she has established that she's kind of hard to take seriously. And I think we're on a good path, a good direction with the way she clobbered Marina Shafir in their last match with the wine bottle. And I think we're on a good path here where the Mean Mina made Tekla have to get the brass knuckles.
yeah,
So if it's all in service of like upping the in-ring threat and credibility of Mina Shirakawa, then I'm here for it, because I think that's where she needed help.
yeah, yeah.
Following that match, there's a brief bit backstage where Rennie Paquette is with the still at the end of the show shirtless Kenny Omega and asks him about calling his shot for the AEW World Championship about against MJF at Dynasty. But before he could answer, Paquette informs him that next week the official contract signing will take place, but if there's any physicality, the match would be off. And Omega says, of course MJF is going to pull some shenanigans like that. And he reiterates that, it feels a little weird to be called the god of pro wrestling, but if it takes a god to get the belt off MJF, he'll be the god to do it. And that's when Speedball Mike Bailey comes over, and Speedball is practically drooling on Omega, clearly a big fan. And and he walked over to remind Omega that they wrestled last year at Dynasty, and he meant it then and he means it now that he admires Omega, and he thinks the professional wrestling god is the right way to describe him, and hopes that Omega goes to Dynasty to beat MJF. That said, Bailey wants the first shot after Omega wins the belt, but right now he just wants to shake Omega's hand, which he did for an uncomfortably and comedically long amount of time, even after Omega was like, "You can let go now, bud." And I think Bailey said,
I don't
"I don't
want
want to." So that was interesting. So now Mike Bailey is in the like, "Hey, I'm after the AEW World Title." So I mean, it is a stacked contendership for that title, and that is good. That's how it should be. If you're not there to win the big prize, then what are you even doing? We followed that up with a backstage interview video of Ricochet, and he's standing there with the Gates of Agony, Bishop Khan and Toa Leona, and it sounds like Ricochet has a cold because, like, I mean, he had that sound in his voice, like it was like an octave lower because of nasal drip.
He's been crying.
And so he had been crying. Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm bald and I have no title belt.
Yeah. What you heard were his tears.
That must have been it. But he feels like he was absolutely screw jobbed by having to, defend his national championship in a 20-man battle or 21-man battle royale. And he said he wasn't pinned or submitted to lose. And I'm like, yeah, that's how battle royales work, bud. You throw somebody over the top rope, and that happened to you, so you lost. But I digress. He goes on to say how he was defending that title in singles matches around the world, but, it's guys like Kenny Omega that are getting an AEW World Championship opportunity for winning, one match? And he goes on to reiterate in their one meeting, he, knocked Omega's block off, and he's tired of people like Omega and nobody's getting the opportunities. So if he has to prove it again, he'll kick Omega's ass and anyone else who tries to get in the way. So Ricochet is also wanting that AEW title. So everybody's coming for it.
Everybody.
And that brings us to our second main event of the night, a no countout match between Darby Allin and Roosh of LFI.
Oh, my
Toro
Lord.
Blanco. And just to be clear, no countout match is not a no DQ match. It just means that you can be outside the ring beating the crap out of your opponent for as long as you wish.
Yes.
That said, what were your thoughts on this second main event?
Yeah.
Or third, depending on how we look at the first match.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say third. This was insane. And we freaking knew, when we heard that it was going to be Roosh versus Darby Allin, that Roosh is going to try to murder Darby Allin. And he did indeed try to murder Darby Allin.
From the moment the bell rang.
Yes, we were even talking about that. Like, while you were still talking, Darby gets knocked off the top rope. Off the top rope and goes crashing down to the air. And we're like, yep, here we go. Already.
It begins.
It begins. Yeah. From jump, he was already getting yeeted and just slapped and beaten the hell out of. But hot damn it, fitting entertaining, because Darby is insane. This was a really good main event. Yeah, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to, and I know I said that like 2 other times tonight, but I usually am so concerned about Darby that I have a hard time enjoying a lot of his matches in the moment. For me, a lot of them are usually, oh God, oh God,
Yeah, because you're worried you're witness to a snuff film at the time.
I just saw a murder. People are gonna call me now. I'm gonna have to fill out paperwork. Shit.
Right,
Yeah.
incoming subpoena.
Yeah. Damn it. Man, yeah, no, it's a nail biter, but yeah, this match was no exception. But I will admit that I was a bit more entertained. Watching Roosh and Darby go at it was crazy, and again, like Darby just I'm gonna mail that dude some cookies or something. Um, and
In
a
a
blanket.
sweater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just be like, wrap up in this for a little bit and just sit down and chill, bro. Eat these cookies. Just
Like a
chill.
thermos of hot honey tea.
Yeah, don't do nothing else but eat these cookies and drink this tea. Don't make it extreme. Don't fucking add anything to it. Just sit down, eat these cookies and chill. But all jokes aside, yeah, this was a great match. Darby and Rouge actually look pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like together, I like what they bring to the table. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, I honestly, that's about all I have to add to that. That's just a really great match.
Nice, nice. Yeah, of Roosh, I will say this: like from the day we saw him and we first watched him wrestle, Roosh is an absolute brute. Like he is a brute. He hits hard. He looks like he's a super stiff worker. And anytime he is beaten on somebody, it looks like they're having the worst night of their life, which is what
Yeah.
Allen was experiencing for the entirety of this match. Um, I mean, from start to finish, Roosh was just beating the holy hell out of Allen. And I think Allen would occasionally get like a slight bit of a turnaround, but never for long. And so, like, this was just the highlight reel of Roosh kicking the shit out of Darby Allin. And the only way I can convey that, because you'd have to watch the whole match to see all of the ass whooping, but like, here's some highlights. There was a point where Roosh ran Darby Allin into steps that were only a few feet away from the ringside barricade, and Darby he hit the steps so hard that he somersaulted over the top of them, only to basically rack his legs on the top of the barricade and then fall landing on his back. That was just disgusting looking, and was like, is Darby going to be able to walk for the rest of this match? There was another one where Roos just straight belly to belly suplexed him off the apron onto the floor, and there's no magic trick to that, guys. Like, that is just like a 6-foot drop where you somersault and land on your back on the ringside area. So that was an ugly bump. There was another one where Darby Allin did his signature suicide dive the first time, and Roos just moved. And so Darby sailed unabated directly into like the barricade, head and neck first.
Oh
And I'm like,
God.
this is insane. And then when Darby does get some offense off, his offense hurts him as much as it hurts the other guy in a lot of cases. So there was a point where he did do another suicide dive to Roosh, this time where Roosh is near the announce table. And even landing that one, it connected, but Darby still sailed almost head first into the announce table. And then he picks up a chair, brings it over, sits Roosh in it, and does a shotgun drop kick, like a shotgun style missile drop kick off the top rope onto the floor, which means that he takes another like 9-foot back bump just to kick Roosh out of the chair. So Darby is trying to break all of his bones. I guess somehow that will make them stronger. But yeah, I mean, this was just Darby getting bodied until, I want to say, Roosh tried to fight off the Scorpion Deathlock, and that instead allowed Darby Allin to switch it into a jackknife pin, and wins by the quick pin. And at no point had Roosh stopped beating his ass. He just, like, Darby Allin just stopped that from happening for 3 seconds long enough to win.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't get better for him after the match.
No.
Not because Roosh came out to kick his ass, but because he
Oh.
goes and he sits at the top of the entrance ramp, having survived that match with Roosh, only for Mark Davis and the rest of the Don Callis family to come out, and Mark Davis grabs him from behind and gut wrenches him into a pile driver on the entrance ramp and just leaves him corpsing in between his legs for like an uncomfortable amount of seconds. And so then they pick him up, bring him back into the ring, and he's so lifeless that, like, Lance Archer goes to choke slam him, and Darby doesn't look like he was there for any of it. Like, he's just burnt. And then they proceed to do a kick beatdown as the show goes off the air. So Darby Allin is just demolished. But hey, he won the match, y'all. And that was the main event, just brutality. That said, that brings us to the end of just a thrill ride of a Dynamite. What was your final review of this episode of AEW Dynamite?
Before I get to that, I just want to say that I could see several memes being created just from those 5 seconds of Darby on the ramp celebrating, and then Mark Davis coming up behind him like death itself, and and just picking him up and flipping him upside down. Oh my god!
Seriously, that was just gross.
Yeah. Wow. But with that being said, shivers. I'm gonna give this episode an 8.5. It was highly entertaining, and I mean, I was gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an extra 5 for the triple main events. Um, and for having a huge main event match at the very beginning of your show. Just like, if you want to set the mood, you know, Chef's Kiss, fantastic opener. And this was again, like, honestly, there wasn't much different between this and the PLE we just saw. Like, you're gonna get quality fucking matches on a Wednesday, on a Saturday, it doesn't matter. A PLE, it does not matter. Yeah, so fantastic. What did you think?
This was a thrill ride from start to finish, this episode, with Swerve and Kenny setting the tone with an absolute banger to open the show, all the way until we reach the end with the show going off the air and Darby Allin getting obliterated by the Don Callis family, particularly that nasty pile driver from Mark Davis. I mean, it's like they said to Darby, well, you thought you got your ass kicked dealing with Rush, but wait, there's more. And this is absolutely the definition of what wrestling fans come to see. Like at no point am I sitting there counting the minutes between like long-winded promos and huge commercial breaks and commercials from the announce desk taking place. None of that shit. This was just pure action. The vignettes that they cut were like really short and in between matches. So they run their show with the urgency of like, look, we know what you came to see. We're going to try and keep the parts that you want to see as the main stuff. And here's this little side stuff that sort of informs the parts that you want to see. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. AEW Dynamite delivered easily. I went a little bit higher. I gave it a 9 because every single match was badass. Like, it was a thrill ride start to finish. We watched 2 hours, 6 matches, which is one match less than they usually give us, but several of these matches were big, long ones, right? And it was just full of high energy and momentum from start to finish. Like, we didn't find ourselves counting the minutes or fast forwarding through any parts of it because it's boring or because of all the commercials. And AEW is truly where the best wrestle, and this episode of Dynamite was top tier.
Yep.
It is just the best value proposition for a pro wrestling fan, in my opinion, that you can watch right now. They are so on fire. They've been on fire. They've been building momentum, but they really caught fire, I think, with a banner 2025 year, and that's continuing well into 2026. So, yeah, AEW is where it's at, and you're right. Like, the distance in terms of quality or what action you can see between their regular television and their paid live events is not so great. And that's not to say that their PLEs aren't amazing. It's that their regular television is akin to PLEs from other companies, if not better. Right. So This is just good stuff. This is what I, in my good conscience, would recommend to any wrestling fan. This is where you want to be. This is where the best wrestle.
Agreed.
So with that, we arrive at the end of our review of AEW Dynamite, and I want to thank everyone who joined us this episode, and I invite you to join us for our next episode, which should be our coverage of AEW Collision, airing this coming Saturday. Until then, I don't think there's anything for me to do but roll the outro. One more time.
Bye, guys.
There it is. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest wrestling news and shows. You can find us on all major podcast platforms, as well as our YouTube channel, where we upload all of our episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and X for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.